Hey everyone, and welcome to Demolition Derby Week 2 core class. Today what we're going to be working on is creating a new car selection screen. To start, we need to go to the bottom right hand corner where the cat with the plus sign is, and click on the paintbrush to create a new sprite. This will create a new sprite called Sprite 1. We want to rename it to Car Selection Screen. To rename a sprite, if you don't know, it's right underneath the game window. It'll say sprite, and then it'll say sprite 1. You just highlight it and type in what you want, and it'll rename it in this area. Next, what we're going to do is go to the left-hand side and click on the square tool. And we're going to create a square the size of our screen. And once we have that, what I want you guys to do is click on Fill. And at the top of Fill, there are 4 squares. Click on the third one over so that way you can get a transition. And the first color I'm going to choose is a purple color, and the second color I'm going to choose is like this blue color. And what this will do is create a fade effect where the top of the screen will be purple and the bottom of the screen will be blue, and in between it'll fade between these colors. And that's how you can see how I created my screen like this. Once you guys have that, what you want to do is click on T for text, change the fill to, I'm going to change it to a black for now. And I'm going to type on my screen, car selection. Now that I have a text on my screen that says car selection, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, and I'm going to make it bigger. Then I'm going to move it to the top of my screen here. I want to make sure it's in the view of the game as well. And then I'm going to change the font from sans serif to marker. And now I can mess around with the coloring with the word, and I'm going to change the font colors from a red and to an orange. So it's like this. I got hot rod colors. Next, what I want to do after I have the word car selection and I have my background is I want to click on this circle tool, click on fill, and create a black circle. And with the circle tool, I'm going to create 3 circles on my screen. I'm going to copy them. So I created one. I'm going to copy and paste the rest just because since they're all the same. And then copy and paste. And there we go. So now I have 3 squares or 3 circles on my screen. I'm just going to move them around to make them a little bit more uniform in their spacing. Now that I have my car selection screen created and I have my 3 circles in the word car selection, what I want to do is then click on code and then go to variables and then click at the top make a variable. I want to make a variable called new car, capital N, capital C, and it's all one word. Then what I want to do is it's going to have a check mark after I create it next to the new car. I want to uncheck it so it's no longer visible. Lastly, I'm going to go to events, grab the when green flag is clicked, drag it into the white space, and then look for looks. We're going to grab show and attach it to when green flag is clicked. Then we're going to look for go to front layer and attach it to the bottom of show. Then we're going to grab go forward 1 layer and change 1 to 100. Next, we're going to click on variables and then look for set checkpoints to 0 and apply it to the bottom of our code. Click on where it says checkpoints touched and move it to new car. After we have that, we're going to click on control and grab the forever block of code and apply it to the bottom of our code. Then we're going to grab the if and then and put it inside of the forever block of code. Then we're going to go to operators and grab the blank and blank operator and put it inside the if then blank space. Then we're going to go to sensing and grab touching mouse pointer and put that into the first bubble of the and. And then we're going to go and look for mouse down for the second one. So it'll say mouse down question mark, and we're going to put that into the second and. Then what we're going to do is go to events, and we're going to get the broadcast new lap and put it inside of the if then and change new lap. And we're going to click on new message and type hide cars, all one word. Then we're going to go to looks and grab hide and put it underneath the broadcast hide car. Lastly, what we're going to do is hover our mouse over the if and then duplicate it, so we'll have this whole if block of code. And then we're going to apply it to the bottom of our code, still inside the forever block of code. We're going to duplicate it again and repeat the process until our code looks like this. And we have 3 of the if then blocks of code inside the forever, and they all say the same thing. Next, what we're going to do is go to the car swap sprite and then go to costumes so we can see all the different cars that are under it. And again, it's called the car swap sprite. And what you want to do is you want to pick 3 cars that you want to use. So look through these really quickly. And then you want to pick 3 of them that we want to use. And when you found one that you like and that you're going to use, I'm going to pick this blue one. So I'm going to click copy. And then I'm going to create a new sprite. And to do that, I'm going to hover my mouse over the cat with the plus sign and click on the paintbrush. I'm going to rename it from sprite 1 to car 1. And then I'm going to paste the car into the game. Once I have the car pasted, I want to shrink it down a little bit and then recenter it. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit more and then recenter it, because I want it to look right when it's in the car selection screen. So I'm going to keep shrinking it down just so it looks the right way. Actually, I'm going to make it slightly bigger now. There we go. So I think that's the right look I'm going for. And then once I have that, on the left-hand side, I only have 1 costume, so I want to duplicate this 2 times, and then I'm going to delete the other 2 so that way they're just blank. So costume 1 has this car, and then costume 2 and 3 are blank. So I'm going to go back to the car swap, and I'm going to look for a different car, so I'm going to pick this green one. And then I'm going to go back to car 1, and I'm going to paste it into the second area. And I'm going to shrink it down as well, so that way it's going to be the same size roughly as the other car. And I'm just going to move it to the center of the screen for now. Then lastly, I'm going to go back to car swap and look for another car that I'm going to use. So this white one's really nice. And then I'm going to go back to car and paste the last car into the costume 3 area. And I'm going to shrink this one down as well so it just fits on the screen nicer. So now that I have all my cars and I have 3 of them pasted in, what I want to do is then go to code. And I want to add some code, and what I want to do is go to Events, and grab when green flag is clicked and drag it into the white space. Then I'm going to go to Show, which is under Looks, and put Show under when green flag is clicked. And also under Looks, we need to grab Set Size to 100% and change it to 50%. And then I'm going to grab the Switch Costume to Costume 1. But if you see Costume 3, you just click on the drop down to change it to Costume 1. And then I'm going to grab Go to Front Layer. And then I'm going to grab Go Forward 1 layer and change it to 100. Lastly, I want to go to Motion and grab the Go to X and Y. And I want to change X to -163 and Y as 4. And we're probably going to have to move these around, so don't think that these numbers are permanent. You guys can change the X. That moves it on the left and right. And what we want to do is make these cars line up with these black circles on the car selection screen. So when we do have ours, what you want to do is just get yours to line up with that, so you would change these numbers. Next, I want to go to Events and grab when this sprite is clicked. Then I want to grab something from Variables. So you click on Variables and grab Set Checkpoints Touched to 0 and change Checkpoints Touched to New Car, and then to 1. So instead of 0, it'll say 1. So if I press play, you guys can see that my car is now over the black circle. And I think the size is also a little small, and that's because I resized mine. If you guys didn't resize yours, you would have a different thing. But what I want to do is just change the size first, and then I'm going to move over my car just by changing it on the X. So -160 would probably work better for me. Actually, it doesn't. It need to go the other way. So now I got my first car lined up with the first dot on the left-hand side of the car selection screen. And my numbers were -175 and Y4. But again, yours may be different based on some other factors of what you chose and how you moved your circles around. Lastly, we just need to go to Events. You can stop playing your game for this. And then go to When I Receive Hide Cars. And then we're going to grab Look and drag Hide to it. Lastly, what you want to do is hover your mouse over car 1, right-click, and duplicate the sprite 3 times. So you'll have car 1, car 2, and car 3. Next, what you want to do is go to car 2, and then click on Costumes, and delete the first costume, so that way the next car will show up, which is my green one. And then I'm going to go to car 3, and make sure that the white car is for car 3. So at the bottom, my car 1 is my blue car. My car 2 is my green car, and car 3 is my white car. And all I did was delete the costumes that were different for each one, so each car is just the car that it is. And then what I want to do is click on car 2 and go to the code. And I want to change this code for the X, and I'm going to change it to -100. And I want to just keep changing this number until the second car, which is the green one, lines up with this circle. And 0 actually works pretty good for me. Then I'm going to go to the third car, and I'm going to change it to +175 and see where that puts me. Actually, that's pretty good. So I have all 3 of my cars all lined up on my screen now. As you guys can see, I have my blue car on the left, the green car in the middle, and the white car on the right. Lastly, we want to go and click on the car selection sprite, and then look at the code here. What we want to do, where it says touching mouse pointer at the top, we want to change it to car 1. And then the second one will be car 2, and the last one will be car 3. For the if touching car 1 and mouse down, then broadcast hide cars. Next, we're going to go to player 1 sprite, and then we're going to go to its costumes so we can see the car. My car is different than your guys's because I changed it out, but don't worry about it. What we want to do is duplicate costume 1 2 times, so that way we have 3 of the same car for costume 1, costume 2, and costume 3. Mine are going to be called costume 3 and costume 4 because we actually have one for the dot, which is on the mini-map. But our goal is to click on car 1 sprite, copy the car that's inside of here, go back to your player 1 car, costume 1, paste the car in that you chose, which is this is the blue one that I picked. You got to rotate it 90 degrees, so that way it's the same direction as the other car. You can do that with this little handle at the bottom of the car. Let me move my hand. So right here, that looks like a little anchor. And then once I have the car lined up and roughly the same size as the other car, what I want to do is delete the old car and then move my car that I want to the center of the screen. So now my new car, which is the blue car, is now the first car in the row. And then I'm going to go to car 2 sprite and copy it, go back to player, go to the next one down, which is going to be my costume 3, and I'm going to paste this car in, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then once I have that, I'm going to delete the old car and move it to the center. And then I'm going to do the same step for the last car, which is car 3, and put it in the same way. Just paste it in. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then I'm going to make sure it's about the same size as the other car. And then I'm going to delete the old car and move it to the center. So now my car 1, 2, and 3 for my selection screen are all under my player 1 sprite. Next, we want to click on code and go to my blocks and create a new block by clicking make a block. We want to create one called car selection and then click OK. So we don't need to add anything, just click OK. And it'll create a new block of code called define car selection. So let me move this down here so we can get a better view of it. Define car selection. So it'll look just like this one. And what I want to do at that point is I want to go to control and grab a forever block of code and attach it to define car selection. And then I want to grab an if and then and put that inside of the forever block of code. Then I want to go to operators and grab a blank equals 50 operator and put it inside of the blank space between the if and then. Change 50 to 1. Then go to variables. And I'm going to change a new car, or put the new car variable into the first bubble. So it'll say if new car equals 1, then. Then I'm going to go to looks and grab switch costume to costume 2 and put this into the first one. And I'm going to change it to costume 1. Then I'm going to duplicate this again and again. So then I have 3 of these ifs. And I'm going to change the second one to equals 2, so new car equals 2. And then the costume for this one will be costume 3. And then the next one will be if car equals 3, and then the next one will be costume 4. Because costume 2 is the red dot, so we don't really want to use costume 2, because then your car would just be a little red dot on the screen, and it won't be, it'll be hard to see it. So you want to use your costume 1, costume 3, and costume 4, which are created when you create your new costumes to drag the cars in. Next, we want to look for the when green flag is clicked block of code on the player 1 sprite. And it looks like this block of code here. What we want to do is drag this switch costume 1 off, and then go to My Blocks and drag the car selection onto the bottom of that. And once you guys have that, you guys can go ahead and play your game. And when you guys play your game, the car that you guys pick should be the car that you guys are driving with. So go ahead and test out your guys' game. If you guys have any... When you guys go to play your game, make sure you guys click on the car that you guys want. When you guys go to play your game, make sure you guys click on the car you guys want. And then when you guys do, you guys should have the car that you guys chose pop up on the screen. Thank you guys for watching the video, and as always guys, thanks for watching. Once you guys go to play your game, you should see all the cars pop up, and the car you guys pick should be the car that spawns in the game. Thanks for watching guys, and as always, thanks for watching everyone, and see you next time. Bye!